All right, so here I am starting in Adobe Illustrator, and I've got this type. I have outlined this so you can see that everything's outlined, and I want to be careful. I noticed one thing is if, I wanted to put this rectangle here around this, but I noticed that when I saved this out, when there are overlapping paths like that, it actually creates some issues in Cinema 4D. So I'm actually going to kind of separate the assets out. I'm going to import this into Cinema 4D and design and animate from there. So I've gone through this workflow of taking some Illustrator vector assets, and I've saved it down to Illustrator 8, and I'm going to go into Cinema 4D and make it 3D. Okay, so in Cinema 4D, I'll go up to this Objects panel, go to File, Merge Objects. Here's that file, the AI file. I'm going to scale it up a little bit. Like if you, I think the default is 1, but I want it to be a little bit larger, or actually maybe I could even become even larger, because I do want this to be large. And you can always scale this later, but I'm just playing around. Okay, so it came in a group, this null object here, and you can see that these things correspond to the letters. If you have a lot of things like this, generally they kind of follow the order of the file, although you can see some things are maybe a little bit different. I might want to label this as my rectangle, so I need to extrude these and separate them out. And it looks like have fun. I just got some words of wisdom here. Okay, so it looks like this is have fun. So maybe what I'll do is select those, and I can group them. I could hit Option G to create this null or to group them. And this is, again, an organizational thing, have fun. And I think that all of this will just say be safe. Yeah, so I'll do Option G to make that group. Again, this will make my life a little bit easier later. So I might just select this, Option G, and write experiment. Okay. So now what I want to do is grab this extrude. Again, we got to make a parent-child relationship. Let's grab experiment. Just grab the first one, or this one layer here. In the extrude, you can set the offset. Now this is, I've actually upgraded my version of Cinema 4D, so this is a little bit different than older versions, but the offset is just how much it extrudes it. Why am I not seeing anything? Because there's multiple paths here, and we got to make sure we hit hierarchical. Okay, so now we see that stuff there, and again, you can see it's at 54. Dial that into what you need. Let's just keep doing some more of this stuff. Maybe this one will be at 10, and maybe I'll just grab that rectangle and put that underneath there. And I did say that I want this to kind of be underneath. Let's see, I'm gonna grab this and just kind of, put it underneath here. So it's kind of like a background. That works for me for the most part. Again, you can toggle multiple views looking like this. So sometimes it's helpful to see how deep these things are. Do they overlap? Okay. Maybe this is still too deep. Yeah, so I can just move this. Remember, you can hit E, R, or T to toggle between the different tools. Move, rotation, T is scale. Okay, so let's just keep going. Extrude. Let's grab have fun and let's drag that underneath there. Again, hit hierarchical so that since we have multiple paths, that is probably too much. Maybe 20 is a good value for us. I'm just gonna get in there and have a look. Okay, and then let's do one more of these. Be safe. Drag that in there. Hierarchical 20, or maybe we want to mess around. Maybe this is 14, a little bit, not quite as deep. Okay. Again, if we want to change the caps right now, the caps are very rigid, we can go into here and change. Now this is actually a little bit different too on the extrusion, but you can cap this and smooth it out. There's a bevel shape. We could do steps, which, oh, that's actually kind of interesting, but maybe a little bit too much. It shows you the segments. Maybe a curve, or we'll do a round. Yeah, so let's keep it simple. I think that's okay. And again, that is, oh, now this is working on both sides, so that's actually kind of helpful because it says both bevels. There's some options here. You could put the bevel on the outside or put the bevel on the inside. So this is actually a little bit, this update is kind of nice. Okay, let's go in and turn some bevels on. Maybe one for that. Okay, that looks good to me. Let's go up to experiment, and this is just an empty group, an empty null, so I'm going to delete that. Click on extrude. Let's go in and add one, or maybe we'll do 1.5 so there's a little bit of variety. Is that too much? The segments here will give us a smoother, look at that edge. It'll give us a smoother look to it, or if we want like a chiseled edge, maybe we want, maybe we'll do one segment. It's kind of like a chiseled look. Okay, and then this rectangle, I think I could also put a nice edge on. Maybe that one will be a bigger kind of edge. Now it feels a little bit small, but you could go in and scale this a little bit so that it fits right, and you can reposition this as you need to. There you go. Okay, so I have the different elements, and well, let's go ahead and start texturing this. I think that's a good next step. All right, so let's make some materials here. I want to just do some colorful materials. Again, we'll go into the color channel and start pulling some colors that we think might look good. I'm going to make, if you want to make a copy, you can hold on Control and click and drag and just, pull out some colors here. Let's just go for something colorful. Have a range of colors. And we'll kind of just create a palette of things. A little pink, that's good. Pink's always nice. Maybe we'll do one that's like, let's do maybe like a reflective material. We can, again, go into the reflectance and play with the specular strength and the fall off to change the shape of this, how that reflects light, and then we can also add, Beckman is a good reflective look, and you can, dial that in using the layer strength and something like this. Yeah, maybe it's a reflective material like that. Maybe I'll put that on here. It's reflecting light a little bit. Okay, we need some more colors too. Let's just keep pulling these along. Maybe, like an orangey color. All right, so I have these colors here, and if I drag this onto like experiment, the thing is that every color on there is gonna, or every form on there is gonna be colored. That's okay. That looks all right. But one thing I could do, which might actually give me more control over this, is that if I make this editable, I could get these as different sections. So I'm going to click on this and press C, and that's going to create these editable, or it kind of simplified it into, you see that extrude was on the whole group, and now they're individually layered. And what that lets me do is go and apply materials individually. So I could start to yeah, color this up. And maybe there's like a rhythm to this or not. Maybe it is just kind of random. I can drag them this way too. So visually, I can play with that. Now this one is interesting because all of these are individual paths. So, oh, maybe there's a way for me to do kind of a gradient or something, a gradient of colors, or yeah. So let me, and you can actually just click and drag these down. So maybe if I want it to be more of a gradient, I'll do that. So it goes from like yellow, orange to pink, and one more. You know, I want to have like a dark color, maybe just like a blackish color, something like that. Yeah, maybe that's good, and I could put that there, and maybe I'll put that in here as well, or something. All right, so I've gone ahead and done the rest of this materials. I had recorded it, but it actually, I guess the video file got corrupted. Again, what I did is I selected these extrude objects and I hit C. You go up to, that's basically what it does is make it editable. And that will, you know, reduce this down. The end result in something like these is that these get reduced down a little bit into extrusions. So those are then like individual objects that I can apply the materials onto, and so I can have this individual color here. The next thing I want to do is maybe start to compose this in space. I want this to actually be kind of like 3D type, and maybe it's like, you know, it exists on different axes. So I'm gonna hold down, I'm gonna use R and if I hold down Shift, it's gonna let me go in like 5-degree increments, and I want to go to like maybe 90 degrees. I'm trying to, you know, think about this in space, have fun, and then maybe this Be Safe one, I'm gonna actually kind of turn so it's on the floor. So I'll go 90 degrees this way, and move this around like that. One thing I want to just show is right now this the axis is like off. It started at the origin, but it's like a little bit off, and sometimes it's like a little bit hard to play with. If you want to move that, you can switch to enable axis modification on the side. Now, but be very careful because sometimes people do this and they forget to go back into the other mode. So this could help me, you know, just to center that. But when you're later on, you might try to go move it, and you're like, hey, nothing's moving, just the axis is moving. You got to go back and unclick that. So then now you have control of the object. But if that's bugging you, that's one way to fix it. Yeah, so we have this here, and you know, I should also say like we can go back and actually modify these. If we can select, since they're all the same, we should be able to select them like this, and we might be able to like, maybe I think, oh, that's actually it's too deep. Maybe if it's going to be on the ground, I want to adjust it. So yeah, maybe something like that. We could also scale things. So we're in groups here, and you can see they're like kind of nested inside of each other, but maybe you want to scale this up. Whoops. I find that you could also click in the coordinates here and maybe scale it up like 2, 2, 2, something like that. Or maybe in the Y direction, it's only 1. Or actually, we got to keep track. We've moved the axes around, so this direction is the Z, the depth, and maybe that's enough. So experiment, have fun. Yeah, so I'm playing around with this. Whoops. Again, I'm gonna, maybe I'll just do it here. I'll scale this up this way, maybe 1.5, 1.5, and you want to scale it proportionally. Okay. So this is kind of my scene. Maybe this goes back in space. An experiment. Maybe this can go up. or it's actually, I want this to travel together, so I can select both, hold down Shift. You know, can scale things this way too. Maybe this should be bigger too. Now I gotta, whoops. The reason that's scaled differently is that they have different center points there, so that's one thing to be aware of. Maybe we'll just do it separately, and then we'll align them. Or actually, let me just go back. One thing I could do is put them in the same group. So Option G, and then if I scale it from here, now they should be scaling in the same, from the same location, and yeah, that's one way to get around that. Whoops, not 23. That's going to really change the scale. I'm hitting 3 to move around. Yeah, let's see. And yeah, I'm kind of playing with this still. Maybe this is a little bit big. 1.7. Okay, I guess that's good for right now. The next thing I'm going to do is animate this. So I'll have an animation, and then I'll bake the keyframes down. All right, so I'm going to do some animation here. I'm thinking about doing like a looping animation again, so that I can not have tons of frames, maybe keep it kind of small. So yeah, maybe I can do in 90 frames. Let's think about some animations that we could do. So Aero will accept position, rotation, and scaling animations. So maybe we can start with this experiment piece. And maybe what I want to do is have it like slide sideways like this. We'll start, you know, we'll turn the keyframing on, and you can move it around. I do want to make sure that if it is looping, it needs to get back to that same value eventually. So maybe I will also drop a keyframe at the end so that it gets to the same place. And then maybe from here, that's when I start to add in between keyframes, and you can see it's going to start here, move there, and then go back to the original one, so that, you know, when I press play, it should just kind of loop or give the appearance of looping. And yeah, we can play with this. Maybe we'll go even further. Is that gonna work? So what does that look like? And if you want to adjust the timing, you can move the place, move these keyframes around a little bit. You could do it right in here, or again, you can go to the timeline dope sheet or F curve if you want to play with the graph editor, but you can see everything in here. Okay, so I'm going to just keep rolling with that. I'm trying to think about my looping animation. And I don't know, maybe I'll throw a little bit of rotation in here. Again, I want it to loop around and make sure it, let's see, maybe it just like around here. And again, this is rotating around the center axis point. So right now it doesn't feel like it's in the right place. So I might just move it over. Let's see, where am I? I want to move it to like the center of this. I just want to make sure I'm kind of in the right area. Yeah, this, I think if I move that there, it's gonna be a better rotation. I think it might have impacted where this started. I think that's okay. All right, so I'll go into here, and then I'll start to, you can see it's rotating around that axis point now. Okay, so maybe I'll I'll go back and I'll start at, we'll start at 18. Again, I want this to go back to the original value, but maybe in between it's like moving around. So let's, we're combining different animations. Okay, and we're going quick, have fun. What could we do with that? Maybe this is also rotating, so let's start from the beginning. I'm going to move this around too because I want to adjust that center axis point. So it's roughly in the center of this. Feels more natural. I'm looking at my different windows to get an idea. Maybe it rotates around that bottom line. Okay, so let's turn that off, and from here let's animate. Maybe it's doing this kind of thing. Back and forth, back and forth. Okay, so let's say 15 degrees there, 15 degrees there, and just the back and forth motion. I'm making this quick, I definitely could spend more time on this. I definitely could have had a better plan, but just kind of trying to show us insight into the process. Let's throw a little bit of a teeter animation too. So we'll drop that there. Again, trying to make sure that it loops properly, so the start and end should be the same values. But you can definitely play along with the in-between stuff. So let's watch that. It's kind of like moving along. All right, have fun. You could also animate these individual letters. In the interest of time, I'm just going to try to do the simple animation, but that would actually be kind of a fun thing to do. Okay, we're almost there. We are on Be Safe now. What could Be Safe do? Maybe Be Safe is just position, maybe position and scaling. So let's go in and turn the keyframing on for this. I think what I want to do is like have it move maybe in the X and the Y, or X and the Z. So I'm going to keyframe those, and maybe it'll go. Oh, before I do that, I want to make sure we end at the right place. So I'll do that. Maybe we'll go here, drag that, and maybe we'll move around this way. So it's like boom, boom. I don't know where else it would go, but we can keyframe those in. Yeah, let's see what that looks like. So Be Safe. Okay. I think that looks okay. Maybe I don't want it. I would just want to slow it down a little bit. All right, so I have all these animations. Now the next thing I need to do is just prep this. Hey, I haven't saved my file yet. I should probably do that. And let's go into our timeline dope sheet. Remember, these are all the keyframes I have, but I need to go in, select these objects, and bake this down. So select them all. Functions, we'll go to bake objects. I don't need to create a copy unless I wanted to maybe have it for reference. Like when I bake this down with all those keyframes, it's going to be a pain to edit versus this is a little bit easier. But so if you wanted to create a copy just to have the two versions, that might be okay. Remember all the parameters. I'm actually not using scale, but again, you could include scale, so I'm just going to click it. It's going to bake it down. Boom, all our keyframes are there. Let's save this out as an FBX, and then let's bring it into Adobe Aero. All right, so here I am in Adobe Aero, and I'm going to import that FBX that I created in Cinema 4D. It should be located right here. Let's import that. Fingers crossed. All right, so we've got our assets here. Scale it up a little bit. I like it large. Again, maybe when I go into the real world, I'll realize this is too big or too small. But for now, I'll keep it relatively large. If I go to preview it, no animation because we need to go into the behaviors, add a trigger. I think we can just on start. The action will be play animation, and that animation set was all baked in there. Let's preview that. So all those things are animating. Why don't we make it go infinite? You know, maybe you slow it down a little bit if you feel like you need to retime it. Let's go into the space and see what that looks like. Okay, so yeah, that's that. I'm ready to go out and take this for a spin in the real world. And here's a recording that I've made on the Adobe Aero app. You can see I placed this type in the parking garage, and I'm just walking through the space, and everything is animating. The textures are in.